Like, I would say it would be 95% that person you swipe right on is probably not going to see you. Now, I'd like anybody on TikTok here to let me know what you think of that one. Do you think that 95% of the people that you see online on Tinder don't see you? Would it be as high as 95%?
Peter.
Wow. Welcome back, ladies and gents. It is the podcast, and today it is all about the rough with the smooth with the rough when it comes to dating. Because there's so many people losing their minds with rejection. But we have to, if you want to find your Prince Charming or Princess Charming, you gotta go through some, right? I mean, fucking hell. And for instance, there's a couple of people losing their... No, not a couple of people. There's loads of people losing their absolute goddamn minds right here, right now on Tinder. Because there was a story of a guy. And even I get quite a few email inquiries about certain stories to put on social media. But this one I went straight to the top of the queue because I could relate to it. Now, I'm not putting myself as a priority over other people, but I just thought because it was last week, it was the Easter weekend, there'd be people going out, they'd hopefully to meet somebody, so I said, you know what, this would be a good one, and I can definitely relate to this one, for sure. So, this guy swipes right on Tinder, doesn't get a match back, and he sees the girl in a bar, and she's with her girly friend. He goes up, talks to her, and all of a sudden, she's a bit distant, she's a bit cold, and he's wondering what to do here. So within about, I don't know, 30 seconds as far as memory serves me, around it was a short period of time, she says, go away, psycho, like our stalker. She even said the word stalker to the guy in front of her friend. Now, he tells me he wasn't all over her. He wasn't a drunken mess trying to feel her, touch her, right? He said he wasn't any of the sort. He said, if anything, actually, he was nervous going over to her because, oh God, her friend's there. Oh, jeez, oh, jeez. Oh. So if anything, he was actually the other way. He was a bit standoffish. He was a bit, what would you call it? What's the word? Closed off, right? And he didn't know what to do. And then she comes out with that. And apparently then she actually kind of looked over at her friend with a little smile on her face. Now, to me, that's just a girl. If the guy is telling me the truth, and he wasn't touchy-feely with her, and he was, you know, being okay. If that's the case, excuse me, if that's the case, this girl just hates men. She hates them. Like, we have to remember this as well out there, people. We have to remember that there's people out there that fucking hate the opposite sex. They can't stand them. They've got hurt in their past. There's trauma still there. Or they're gay or lesbian and they still just don't like the other gender and they just want to fuck around with people. They want to hurt them. They want to upset somebody because they're having a bad day. Poor baby. There's plenty of those people out there. Do you know? And even somebody just on TikTok, guys, and if you're listening on the podcast, yeah, we're doing a live, just we want to get some feedback on this. And even Vincent just jumps in there. There's two sides to it. Then there's the truth. Well, that's a good point. Like I was saying that, you know, if the guy is actually saying the truth, well, then that's that's just the way it is. You just don't know what's going to happen next. And my point is that this happened to me a couple of times. There was one time, maybe about a year and a half ago, that I swiped right myself on Tinder with some girl. She didn't match back. I went, all right, well, what can you do? And a couple of weeks later, whatever it was, I saw her in a bar and she was with a group. I ended up talking to her and we actually got on really, really well. Excuse me. And I said to her, I said, so I actually did see you on Tinder. And I even said it, I swiped right. And I kind of just messed around with her. And she went, actually, I swiped left because I thought you were a bit of an asshole. And I was just saying this to everybody on TikTok here just before we went live. And I said, well, what did I say in my bio? That I was an asshole? She goes, oh, I don't know. I just kind of got that impression. And I haven't changed my bio on Tinder. I basically have, if you're an Ayrton Senna fan or fan of Formula 1, we'll get on really, really well, smiley face. That's fucking it. In fact, if anything, Mr. Dater here, right, I should be putting on more on my bio. Now, I think there was maybe a little bit more. I have to check it, actually. I should check it. But I went, that's it? And I'll never forget it. I said, that's it? She went, yeah. And she even had a little bit of a smile as in like, oh, am I a bit of a dumbass? And she kind of had her eyes up to heaven a little bit. And then we had a couple of drinks, got on really well, went on for a few dates. Nothing ever happened after that. But she did change her mind when she met me. She said, oh, actually, you're funny. You're nice, like. So she got the wrong end of the stick. No, she didn't get the wrong end of the stick. Sorry. Go back, Peter, here. She fucking assumed something that wasn't there. It wasn't there. I mean, I say this on my TikTok, a lot of my TikToks and even my podcast episodes. I've said that 80% of the problems I see day in, day out, Monday to Friday, every goddamn week, is that 80% of them are people are jumping to a wrong conclusion about someone else. And then they think, oh, Peter's an asshole, yeah, I don't know, something the way he looks there, or the way he's smiling, or his bio. You're like, Jesus. Now, I mean, I get it too. It depends. If Peter's half naked and he's doing duck lips in a Tinder profile, alright, well then there's a totally different scenario. Then Peter's just he's an asshole, alright? And it's same for women too. Like, believe me, ladies, any ladies that are listening to this, a lot of us men we see on Tinder, yeah, you could be unreal hot, and some guys will swipe right. But if you sound like a dick and you're naked in all of your photos, we'll be kind of going, oh, swipe left, swipe left. No, I'll go right. And we hate ourselves for doing it. Like, it ain't gonna work. The relationship's not gonna work right there and then. I'm telling you now, the guy just wants to get some action. Simple as that. Just wants to get some action. And hey, nothing wrong with that either. If a girl wants to get some action, great. If a guy just wants to get some action, great too. But, well, you're going to pay the price. You know, and there's the rough with the smooth here. Yeah, what if you do meet that prick or bitch, right? Even though they're so hot, you end up sleeping with them, which is exactly what you wanted. Okay, that's the smooth. But then the rough is you got to listen to their crap coming out of their mouth. You know, and the chances are, like, even if you want to see them more, they're going to upset things. So, rough with the smooth. You know, just back to TikTok here for a second. Vincent, yeah, you can't win, Peter. No matter what you do, somebody's offended. 100%. 100%. Sure, I even got a TikTok live ban there a couple of weeks ago. Simply because, what was it again? I was talking about the people that use genders as a problem. Sorry, to basically steamroll over people. Use it to bully and manipulate others, which happens all the time. They're not offended. They're pretending they're offended. They're full of shit. They just use any excuse to just try and what was it that came up? Hate speech. Hate speech. Are you joking me? My God. I mean, the world's gone nuts. It's gone nuts. And people think it's now fashion to look like a fucking bellend. You know? To look like a complete little wimp. It's fashionable now. My God. What happened to the days of a man being a man? Taking it on the chin. People having respect for you. You know? You see, this is why I love these TikToks. I just had a completely different conversation in my mind. Now I've completely gone onto something totally and utterly different. It's weird, man. So weird. But that's the whole point of Tinder, okay? Back to the main point here. If you swipe right on someone and they do not swipe right with you, you do not get a match, don't make it a turn off for you. Don't think that it's rejection. In other words, it happened to me. What did I say a couple of years ago? Whatever it was. It worked out well. Girl swipes left on me. She meets me in a bar because I decided to take action and go up and talk to her. And completely different impression of me. So guys, but that's not the big big reason I would be shy about it. You swipe right in Tinder, you don't get a match, you see that girl or guy out in a bar, restaurant, even a fucking walk, wherever, it doesn't matter, right? And if you want to talk to that guy or girl, approach them. Number one, the algorithm is probably working against you, 95% working against you. Now, I'm being serious here. Like, I would say it would be 95% that person you swipe right on is probably not going to see you. Now, I'd like anybody on TikTok here, let me know what you think of that one. Do you think that 95% of the people that you see online on Tinder don't see you? Would it be as high as 95%? Or is it 50-50? Right? You swipe right on 10 people on Tinder. How many of them are going to see you? Okay? Be interested now to see if anybody gives us some feedback on that. So guys, I could be wrong about 95%, but that's the point. They might not see you. And what if it was the woman of your man of your dreams? What if it could work out for the two of you? What? I mean, Christ, isn't it worth the risk? And number two, they're on a public profile, a public forum. So it's not like they're sitting at home trying to stay away and avoid people like the plague, and you're coming up like a pain in the ass hassle and trying to harass them or stalk them or something, okay? And then they're saying, well, hey, excuse me now, Peter, I don't want to be around anybody. I'm not even on Tinder, not on Bumble, I'm not anywhere, so go away from me. That's not the case. If they're on Tinder, they're out there. Okay? They're out there. What are they looking for? We don't know. But that's what I would say. Number one, the algorithm's probably working against you. Number two, they're on a public forum. Okay? And number three, and somebody just mentioned it there a little while ago about a lot of scammers on dating apps. And actually, this is my point about the dating apps scams, right? People are not going on Tinder as much. Okay? So sometimes, believe it or not, if you had, let's say, if you got professional photos done and you put them on Tinder, chances are somebody's going to come along and probably think, oh, well, that's a scam anyway. That's a fake. Because you look too goddamn good. So I would have photos from your own phone. Okay? Not professionally made. Now, I know, even though, I mean, I gotta say, I've got the 14 Pro Max and this thing is unbelievable, the camera on that. But still, I wouldn't be putting all your focus in on lighting and, you know, down on the beach and the wind is going through your hair, all this sort of shit. Alright? Forget about all that. Just simple photos that the person knows you're real. It's not professional photographer. And just work from there. Just work from there. And even Vincent here says, two of my friends met their partners on Tinder and happily married now. Well, that's awesome. With kids. See, there you go. You see, there you go. And Baggy's thrown in, maybe suggest the old school dating where the ladies contact, let's see the reaction. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so guys, maybe this is a good time to talk about it again. In fact, actually, we just had Seamus on here. I don't know if Seamus is still on here. But Seamus has met the woman of his dreams. And he's getting married now from the dating groups that I created on Facebook, which I'm super happy and proud about, that if I can help you guys, amazing. So guys, there is 5 dating groups on there. Old school dating age. Just type that in to the search bar on Facebook and the groups will come up. They're different age groups. You can go into any of the age groups. Okay? You can go into any of the age groups because I know, and I understood this when we started it off, there will be the younger girls that's into the older guy, and then the older guy or the younger guy into the older girl, and vice versa, etc, etc, blah, da, 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 da. Alright, so everybody's into all sorts of different age groups, so that's fine. And if you don't like somebody in the group, well then, Jesus, just block them, or don't respond back to them. Or tell them that you're not interested. There's no real rocket science with this. And in fairness now, I haven't had that many complaints in there. Because actually there was a couple of guys in there that have bitched and moaned a lot over the last year and a half. But actually, do you know what? I leave them in. I think everybody's entitled to free speech. Right? It's none of my business what people think or do. If they want to say something, and if they want to say something bad about me, sure, I get it every single day, for fuck's sake. Right? And I don't give a damn. It's okay. That's fine. And if people are abusing other people in the groups, that's a entirely different scenario. Right? And in general, to be honest, it looks like to me 95% of the time, maybe even more, that there's good harmony in the groups. People are friendly to each other. There's even been people in there that have met other friends, like girls have met other girly friends. Guys, I don't know about the guys now, but I know girls have met other girly friends, which is good. And the groups are private as well, which is good, guys, okay? The groups are private, so if any of your family members are on Facebook, they're not going to see what you're talking about to others in the group. It's all between yourselves. And yeah, and then Baggy comes in here on TikTok. There is one or two ladies in old school dating who complain about lack of men, yet don't engage. Well, thank you, Baggy. I've been saying this. Like, at the moment, in some of the groups, not all of them, in some of the groups, there's a lot more women than men. Now, it's working on both sides, but I have to admit, I'm going to throw in here for dudes out there. This is heaven. This is heaven for men. There's loads of women, not enough men, or actually there's plenty of men, they're just not engaging with the women. And the lads are still not doing anything. It's almost like they're expecting me to just hand deliver with FedEx or a golden parcel and drop a beautiful woman on their doorstep, and then they might be happy, but actually they probably wouldn't, because then they'd have to get off the couch. So really Peter needs to come into the house and actually put it into the TV room. But you see, then again, I'd be invading their privacy, and then they'd start bitching and moaning about that. That's the point about that. People look for any fucking excuse to bitch and moan. That's what it is. It's not about the actual thing that they're complaining about. They just want anything to complain about. And then they're moving on to the next complaint. So those people don't bother me that much. It pisses me off a little bit, but fine. And there's a little complaining in the groups sometimes, every now and then. But we have Seamus here. I've got over 40 success stories up to now. And people have gone out on dates. There's one guy I've talked to quite a bit. He met a girl on there. After I pushed him a bit, I said, come on guys, make a video. Make a video intro. The women will love it. They'll get a better understanding of you. And that's what I would say, guys. Whether you're on my dating site or somewhere else, or Tinder or God knows where, if you can put up a video intro of yourself, it's a lot easier for women and men to obviously get an idea of who you are, what you're like. Of course you can't tell exactly what the person's like, but it's giving you 1,000 times more of an idea than a photo. Excuse me. And don't they say a picture speaks 1,000 words? Well, I think a video speaks 10,000 times over a photo or a picture. Do you know? And let's just jump back onto TikTok here. So Baggy says, no, guys will send a DM. Girls don't even reply if they said not interested. At least you know. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. If you're not interested in a guy, well, just tell me you're not interested. I know there's people out there, some people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but at least bullet to the head is better than bleeding to death. Isn't it? You know, Omega here on TikTok, why do some people hate lazy people? I mean, we don't even do anything. Oh, you got me on that one. You set me up for that one. But I also want to talk about a couple of first dates, guys, and this is the whole point of the podcast today. And I'm going to jump back in on TikTok as well, guys, and don't worry, I'm not going to be ignoring you. But I want to talk about as well the rough with the smooth on a first date. Like the worst first date I've ever had. I went along, I matched with her on Tinder, went to meet her for a couple of drinks on a Friday night in a bar about 8 o'clock. I get there just before her, she comes over, bang. I get her a drink, we sit down, we're chatting. Within 5 minutes, she has her phone whipped out. She starts texting someone, okay? Now, for the first 5 or 10 minutes, she's been kind of on and off the phone, but she's engaging back with me. Now, I'm thinking, okay. Now, she did say she had a child, so I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with the babysitter, something. So I'm not, I'm not jumping on this here yet. So, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, she's really now engrossed on her phone. It mightn't even be 15, 20 minutes, but whatever. So now I'm thinking, all right, Jesus, what the hell's going on here? And I just turned to her, I said, look, is everything okay? And she goes, yeah, and she looks at me all surprised. I mean, it's such bullshit. Looks at me all surprised. Why? What's wrong? So then I said, look, do you even want to be here? And I kind of, awkwardly laughed to her. And she goes, well, why? What's wrong? I said, well, your head is stuck in your phone. You're obviously texting someone. I can see you tapping away with your fingers. And she goes, actually, look, Peter, I'm going to go meet another guy. I said, you mean right now? Right now? As we're on the date? She says, yeah. And I went, is this a guy that you're into? Or is this a friend? Or, sorry, what? She goes, yeah, it's a guy I'm into. I went, okay, so that date lasted about 20 minutes. And she leaves, and I'm sitting there, I'm still through my first fucking pint. Probably only a half a pint at this stage. So I sit there in disbelief and shock, because she leaves. And she left within 10 seconds, she's out the door gone. So I sat there kind of processing, and I'm like, oh, thank God the bar's not this busy anyway, that people aren't seeing some stood up guy here. And I'm wondering, what the hell, man? So do you know what? I'm such in disbelief. I go up to the bar, have another couple of drinks. I sit at the bar. She comes she comes back into the bar, and she sees me and she goes, oh my God, I can't believe you're still here. I went, what? She goes, yeah, well, actually, yeah, he didn't show up. I went, so you've come back into the bar, wondering if I'm still here, and yet you can't even lie to, just lie to me. Lie to me. Don't say that he didn't show up. Say that you changed your mind. Actually, Peter's a nice guy. You know what? Screw the other guy. At least give me something like this. Lie to me. And she just had this smirk on her face. I went, oh my God. Man-hater. Total man-hater. So, guys, but you see then, I've gone on dates. Now, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago when I went on these dates where I was a complete asshole to women. And major asshole. And I'm delighted I've grown up. I've taken my medicine. I've been humbled by getting screwed over. And that's why I always think, and I've always said this on my podcasts or social media, I think it's a great thing that you get screwed over. Because it brings you right down to earth. Now, there's other people then that actually go the other way. They get even worse because they're getting revenge on people, right? And I didn't go that way. But it brings you back to life. Just got carried away. And it's not a mistake that you made when you're screwing people over. No, not at all. But that's my point, guys. We have to take the rough with the smooth. Now, some people may be here listening to this going, oh God, Peter's an asshole. I'm not that type of asshole anymore. And you know what, guys? I have no problem risking saying that to you on there because I come from the truth here and coming from my gut, the heart. I speak the truth and honesty, and I hopefully can offer some good things because I know both sides, the dark side and the good side of dating and being with the people, because I was the asshole. And if I can help people out there know that, you know what that guy or girl's up to now? They're up to this. People are going, really? I'm like, yes, because I was doing that back in my day, or I knew other guys doing that, or other girls doing that. you know? So that was my horrendous first date. And, you know, let's just look at TikTok here again. Baggy says, one group less to maintain for admins, then they cannot say enough men and vice versa. One group less to maintain for admins. Oh, maybe there's a... oh, there was somebody here saying, SD, you were lucky she gave you 20 minutes. Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, great 20 minutes of a date. So, like, guys, can you beat that date? I'm sure, I've no doubt in my mind, there's plenty of people out there that can topple that, steamroll over my date. Right? Fair enough. But the point is that we all have the bad dates. We're all going to still have some crappy dates coming up. I mean, there was even another one there that, oh my god, cisgender girl. Well, actually, is it a cisgender girl? Oh, I don't give a shit. Go away. Whatever you call yourself. And she gets to the place, and I have a couple of gay friends, right? For real now, in real life, I have a couple of friends who are gay, and they're very close to me. Now, I'm not gay. They know I'm not gay. I'm 100% straight. They know I'm 100% straight. So they never tried to, you know, pretend to be my friend and then hook up with me. I'm never kind of the closet guy that actually secretly I want to hook up with them, but I'll be friends with them for now. Never. There's nothing. Everybody knew exactly who everybody is, and I don't give a damn. So within about 2 or 3 minutes, this girl, I mentioned something about gay people. It wasn't a bad thing, because I have no problem with gay people. I mentioned something about, was it about, oh, a lot of gay people go to that bar. Actually, I think it's a gay bar. Something like this. And she goes, is there a problem? I went, with what? Now, this is in Cork where I'm from, guys. And I said, I'm sorry, with the bar or what? She goes, well, you seem to not like gay people. I went, I never said that. What makes you think that? She goes, oh, I don't know, it's just the way you are. I went, that's complete bollocks anyway, honey, because I said, you know what, I've got a few gay friends. I have zero problem with gays, so therefore it wouldn't pour out of me, you know, when they're not around. Never. Or it wouldn't even come out of me subconsciously, because I know I have zero problems with them. And I knew. So then she's gone on, oh, and I said, well, hang on a second now. Hang on a second. After about 5 minutes of arguing, I went, do you have a problem with gay people? And she looked at me with the biggest shocked look ever. And I went, oh, you can't answer the question, can you? And she wouldn't answer the question. She just looked at me in shock. I went, okay, we're done. And again, she looked at me really stunned. You see, again, another person stunned that you actually turn it back around on them, because they're so full of crap that they get away with this stuff. And that's why I think being self-aware is very, very good. Very good, because yes, you can get some pressure taken by somebody where they actually have the problem. Whereas actually, they have the problem, but they're trying to pin it on you. Then all of a sudden the person starts doubting yourself, going, geez, do I have a problem? Huh, no, I don't have a problem. My God, what's going on here? Do you know? But anyway, then there's been some very cool dates. Very cool dates. Rough with the smooth, guys. Rough with the smooth. And I think we'll probably leave it there today on the podcast, unless there's other talking points here. So guys, anybody on TikTok, just quickly, just shout in something if you want to talk about something on the podcast, on the live recording. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. But my point is, guys, and while we wait for anybody on TikTok here, guys, we'll just, for now, we'll close it off. Really, just remember, if you're on Tinder, if you haven't matched with somebody, it doesn't mean they've gone. The algorithm could be working against you, and probably is very easily working against you, so they haven't even seen you on there. And I just talked about my horrible first date, worst ever first date. But again, I haven't been an angel on my first dates when I was young. And rough with the smooth, smooth with the rough. And if you want to find your Prince Charming, or your who was it, Cinderella, whoever it is, your little princess, you got to go through some, right? You got to go through some, was it? I actually forget the saying. You got to go through some frogs or whatever it is. But you know what I mean. If you want to find the right fish, you got to fish. So anyway, guys, we're going to stay on TikTok after this recording here. But for anybody listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube, thank you for joining in. And we will be back. Cheers, guys.
Peter.
Walsh.